Hyunjin is not of the frame of mind that he has to appeal to you to win anything back. Hyunjin is of the frame of mind that Adam was in, that if it is breaking God's commandment, his responsibility is to say no. And you know, that's what he's saying. While he's saying that he's strutting around, he's so offended by this strutting. Do you know what Hyunjin is basically saying? No.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
No.
That's the polite way of putting it.
He's saying, I'm not going for it. And here's what you don't understand. When Jesus said, the angel said to Jesus, if you're the Son of God, turn this stone to bread. Jesus said, no. If you're the Son of God, fall from this temple and the angels will have to do their job and save you. No, it's not good to tempt the Lord your God. Hey, I'll give you all these kingdoms if you just bow to me. Depart from me, Satan, you're a hindrance to me, blah, blah, blah. Basically, Jesus said to the archangel 3 times, he said no. That's all he had to do. So if you're really on the proper side, a restored Adam, you realize everything is under your feet already. It's not he's not playing a game of, I have to win something back from you. You think all the wealth of the church, has been put up in front of Hyunjin as a temptation. And he said no to all of it. That's why he's in the woods.
Yeah.
and then you people, I'm telling you, you really don't trust this guy. You better know the principle for yourself. You better know the principle for yourself. The meek shall inherit the earth. The guy is rich, okay, in a way that he doesn't understand. And he thinks that he's holding the key for Hyunjin. And Hyunjin says, I don't believe that. And guess who whose side God is on? God is agreeing that restoration is still here, so Hyunjin needs approval from the archangel? No, restoration is over, so Hyunjin doesn't need the approval of archangel.
Let me just add, really, you're playing with fire. I've warned people. I said, so many times I've seen people say, oh, I understand what's going on. He's spaced out. He's power hungry. He's this. I'll just tell you personally, all you people have no clue what you're dealing with. He walks with God and Father every day. You may not like to hear that. You don't want to do that. And you're saying he needs to justify himself to you. All of you should really, really deeply study John the Baptist and his story and really get down to what stopped John from being humble before the very God himself. I really mean this. Because here's the thing. Are you going to stand before God and Father someday and say, well, because he didn't meet my criteria, I couldn't accept the coronations 3 times that you laid upon him? Because he didn't prove himself according to what the hierarchy said, I couldn't accept the Son in whom you are well pleased?
Yeah, even though
this is what you're playing with.
Yeah, that you guys are messing around with that. You know, John's saying, you know, because even though you sent the dove to alight on his head, like we agreed, I know that he comes from his family background, and so, you know, blah blah blah. Bro.
God chooses.
Bro.
I have to respond. Responsibility. Respond.
You know, that's a point of indemnity for the John the Baptist figure. He has to give up his opinion, his entire value system. According to it, he's evaluating things, everything, according to his value system. Just like Lucifer was, he had a value system. So according to Lucifer's value system, he does it. Adam having all that authority and potential doesn't make sense. and he looks at Adam's potential and he says, why did God give all of that to this creature? And according to his value system, it doesn't make sense, and he's not able to lay it down. So, you know, the John the Baptist figure is the one that has to lay it down, okay? So this means you really feel like your honest computation of the situation renders a for the appointed person. And, you know, the point of indemnity is to say, you know what? I believe God first, and even though I don't understand it, blah, 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 blah. And that's what everybody needs to do with Hyungjanim, because that's just basically what's going on. I mean, I had my moment where I was like, you know, it doesn't make sense from my point of view about this issue and this issue. But what does make sense is that he's true child, and God brought him here. So I had to lay it down. I had to say, you know what? I totally disagree about some particular point, but there's no doubt in my mind that God's next play in the next part of providence is through this man. Regardless of what's going on for me in my mind, God is doing something, and you have to be humble to that. Otherwise, you're a menace. And I did it. We're in this old era where a figure like Hyungjanim has to get our approval. Father said, people who don't know restoration's over are allowing Satan to continue to act. This guy does not have to jump through hoops for us. Hyungjanim does not have to jump through hoops for us as if this was still restoration. If he bends to our ignorance, jumps through hoops, he just laid down the subject position that God worked so hard to place under his feet. Okay? He's standing on it, and get over it. I mean, God is doing something. You need to be humble. Okay? And that doesn't mean that, you know, Hyungjanim doesn't have quirks like Father had quirks, like Jesus had quirks. It's not about those. Let's move on.
Yep.
So he paid indemnity. Okay. But he won your trust by his own 5% portion of responsibility. So now you like him, you trust him, I hope, and he's, you know.
Your point about restoration being over, and I'll just point this out when we move on, but Andrew just uses the word, he paid indemnity. Indemnity is a debt. Hyungjanim doesn't have a debt. Okay, he's not beholding to any debt, least of all to the archangel, and especially to all of us. And if we, who were blessed beyond measure in God's providence by walking this earth with the Lord of the Second Advent and having his direct love and being engrafted into his direct lineage, if we cannot understand that the true children owe us nothing, we are lower than the lowest of thieves. We are the most blessed people already. And if you don't understand that and can't be grateful for that, you deserve to be in the hell of your creation.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a bad guy, so that makes it really easy, because nobody can say where did he sin, and nobody's coming up saying he did this and he did that, right? So, so Father said he surpasses everybody. So I mean, it's just God's will. And go ask God, you know, because if you get real quiet and get away from this whole social proof thing, like you think truth goes where the majority is, and so you just kind of like do the sniff test and see where the majority is heading, who for Mother or Hyungjanim, you're a fool. I mean, I'm sorry, you live by fear. You're afraid to be alone. You're afraid to think for yourself. You don't trust your own mind. I don't know. You're afraid of something because your safety net is public opinion, popular opinion, right? Well, you better brave that closet. Go in that closet, talk to God, because you know, it's God's choice, and it represents something for the next move. It represents something for the future moving forward, and you better start to get to know what that's about, because old business is drying up,
and it's long gone. Father told us to let go. Father told us to kill or to disband the hierarchy in the church long ago, and we never did.
Yeah, the church was offended by that.
Right.
The church was offended by Father. But,
Yeah.
okay.
Let's move on.
Somebody that you want to affirm. Okay, this is a good pastor. Well,
I want to affirm. You arrogant bastard.
It's the same thing with the guy in Pennsylvania. They've got everybody who gets a crown has to go through a course to earn it.
Bullshit. Nope. Stop. Stop. He just said everybody who gets a crown has to go through a course to earn it. That doesn't fall in line with what Jesus promised us.
What do you mean?
In my Father's kingdom there are many households, many mansions. The children all get a crown. He's all King of Kings. Now, do they earn it?
No.
No. It is given to them by grace. They uphold it. And that's the difference. They uphold it.
They honor the one who
they
gave
honor
it to them.
And uphold that crown and the one who gave it.
And the meaning of it. They
by
honor.
Fulfilling their responsibility to who? Not the peanut gallery of false angels out here.
The peanut gallery of false angels.
Out here saying, oh, prove it to me. Oh, I need my candy fix.
Oh.
No, they do it by being accountable to their parents.
Do you see how
God on high.
Do you see how evil this is? This guy is on the TV screen. He's standing there in Clifton Church trying to establish. Do you realize this? He's trying to rape all of you. Yeah. He is trying to establish a false rule. He's trying to say that he's trying to establish all kings have to blah, blah, blah. That is the mindset of the archangel. He is trying to make you think like the archangel. He's trying to normalize the thinking of the archangel. Okay? So that you will stand as a nasty-ass gatekeeper standing with your face in front of two children like this. Let me see what you got. I'm not impressed. Yeah, he's trying to say that you are the gatekeeper. Are you the gatekeeper? Really? You're the one who approved Hyunjin. You put the crown on his head? Really? Because that's what he's saying. All people who are crowned have to be approved by what did he say? The false angel peanut gallery, which you are a part of and I am a part of. And I know what it felt like being a part of that, because I'm looking at the guy and I'm like saying, well, that's not right, and this part's right, this part's right, and that part's not right. And God didn't care he didn't care about any of it. I'm telling you, I felt what it feels like when God says, so what, Jamal?
I remember.
And you have to face that too, because you're literally not in a position to do a damn thing about it except go along with what the king put down. He's the king, okay? Not you. Jesus, we're resultant beings. We're not the cause, okay? This is very arrogant. He's trying to mobilize an army that's going to, you know, arrogantly resist God's chosen person. Because, no, pray to God about what he's doing. I mean, if you can't go with 3 freaking crownings and the penned declaration in strong words about the destroyer and anybody else is a destroyer, then you're handicapped in the brain area. Okay, you're not being able to see the 3 crowns and the proclamation means you're handicapped up here. You need to study more. But just because you're handicapped up here doesn't mean you won't have the ability to walk right up to Father God in spirit, go into your closet, and ask him for a tailor-made sign just for you about who he's moving forward next phase of providence with. Because if you think that this is about the feminists having their way, and God tells you that, okay, I can't say a daggone thing. Didn't tell me that though. But my point is, I'm just part of the peanut gallery too. So you can't take it from me. You better go and ask God. And I don't see a lot of people saying that, well, when I went in prayer and I hear a lot of testimony about people who didn't like Hyunjin and God smacked them and said, I'm working with him. So have your turn at it. Why don't you go meet that God? Because you're not the king.
God calls, and God but then justification we have to earn by and glorification comes through our 5% responsibility. That's the principle.
Stop.
Okay, second.
Right here, Andrew, and he even knew it. He was so dishonest intellectually. He actually
Was he like saw it in his face or something?
Well, no, in his words. I hear in his words. He said, God called, God. But he dropped out God in the follow-ons because when he said justify, because for him, it's not God that justifies. It's man. Or fallen man. No, God justifies. God glorifies. He actually intentionally, purposely is leaving out parts of the Bible quotes that he knows very well. He started to use it as an example and then realized, wait a minute, this doesn't really fit my premise. So he's actually changing the words, which is probably was part of what they did in the new Chungshin, is in other words, we'll take the same words, but if I drop this one out or I retranslate it this way, I can get it to make what I want to say, which is why Father said, don't touch a single word. If I said shit, I meant shit. And you want to know what, people? It's time that we got out of the emotional sandbox. Father could talk to anybody. I've traveled and lived around the world. Not just visited, but lived in other countries, in other continents. And you want to know what's common in every culture that I've been to? Is when you get down to the salt of the earth and the working people, they don't talk in flowery language. If they think you're full of shit, they call you full of shit. If you stink, they say you stink. And you want to know where Father came from and how he talked? There's people I know personally that have translated for Father. I also know Father's broken English. And I know when they translated vagina and penis, that ain't what Father was saying.